What's going on, everybody? LK here, back at it again with another video, and today I'm going to be talking about a more general fighting game concept. You may or may not have heard people talk about this, just depending on who you hang out with, who do you listen to, and that is the concept of different levels of commitment. So this ties a little bit into risk return, or risk reward, which I've talked about before on this channel. But it's slightly different because rather than outright judging like the numbers, like for example, basically risk return as a quick summary is you are assessing how risky it is to do X move versus the literal damage output you get for doing it, the reward. Like what is your like objective reward for doing an action, right? So depending on the team you're playing, right, like let's say you hit like a 2H and spark, the reward could be really high. You could just kill somebody. That's a huge return in Dragon Ball. Taking a character out of the game. It's a huge return. Talking about risk return in a game like this is interesting because generally return is just high across the board. Like the return for almost everything is high in this game. So it's actually kind of better to talk about different levels of commit in this game more than risk return. So going back to commit. So we talk about the commitment, right? It, like I said, it lines up a little bit with the idea of risk return, where you're looking at how committal an action is. So, for example, like when you whip a jab, this is extremely low commit. Like you can just whip the shit, pretty much, right? As opposed to like doing a move like this, you're in that state for a long time. It's a high commitment. Now, the unique thing about assist games is that you can greatly lower the amount of commit of a move, right? So, like, this is a pretty high committal move, but you can use an assist to cover yourself, and all of a sudden it's actually not so bad because you have a way to make that move that's normally, like, a very high, like, you're just stuck doing this thing that may not even necessarily be that good, and you have a way to cover it with an assist. Now, first, when you look at commit 2, right? So you line up commit with risk return 2 because actions that have low commit, right, and have high return, those are things you want to be using, for example. So, for example, in Dragon Ball, like, I mean, everyone talks about Bardock's auto combo, but the jab itself is pretty low commit. So the fact that it's like so good and so big, easy to confirm off of, is actually a really good thing. You can combine all three of those things together and like just kind of evaluate the move objectively. Like, oh, how good is this move? Should I be using this move a lot? Like, for example, you don't actually see that often people using mediums in like neutral, just running up to you and going like this or something, right? That's because this move is pretty committal. It only covers, it's not like huge per se. The return is really high, but like there's no way to know that the opponent is just gonna sit there and let you run up and do that. As opposed to a much faster move. A much faster move you can actually get away with, just because it's kind of fast. But a slower move, that's not necessarily the case. Now, the reason why this is important in this game is because, like I said before, things generally have high return in this game. So the way I look at return in fighting games in general is that some games you can't confirm into big combos all the time. Other games you can. So this game you can convert, even if you consider like, oh, I only get 30% off this. You're saying I only get 30% off this. There are some games where you get nothing off these jabs. You just don't get anything. Either you get like a Street Fighter-esque, like Street Fighter, you would get something like that. Dragon Ball, you get full combos off pretty much all your hits. All your hits outside of maybe like Vanish starters, you get full combos off of. So commitment is important because you don't actually want to be committing too hard to things in this game, because if the opponent hits you out of that thing, then they get a big return. So the way that actions are weighted in this game are kind of skewed because of return, right? So, for example, really good non-committal things that people do in this game is jump block, jump float, excuse me, jump float. Still recovering a little bit from last week, right? Jump float, very non-committal action here. Jump float. Backstep, pretty non-committal. Backstep's really fast, moves you back, makes it easy to react to super dash, a bunch of stuff. Certain moves plus calling assists. I mean, we all know that doing stuff plus assist is good, but certain moves, even though you're committing to doing the move, you cover way more range, so the committal level is lower than normal. So I have Bardock Trunks here, right? So this, as opposed to just doing this. Most people are pretty good at dealing with Lariat now, but Lariat plus assist, depending on like the type of assist you're using, the assist is covering way more space. So the action you're taking is much less committal. So the other thing is, there are actions that you could look at as like low commit that will give you like pretty good return. That's why I don't really tie levels of commitment with first return. So, for example, like let's take Trunks. So, Trunks is actually good because he has a move that is actually pretty high commit and the return is low, but it's a good move. It's actually pretty weird, right? And that is this move, my favorite move in the whole game. Change Feature. Change of Feature is a move that is high commit. Like when you do this in whiff, you can't do anything. You can't vanish, cancel anything, right? High commit. And the return is generally low. Like the range where you use it, you can't, and I'll show this real quick. It's actually extremely difficult to hit confirm that. It's very, very difficult to hit confirm that. If someone can do it, please show me how to do it, because I cannot do it. But despite that, it's a move you see people use all the time because it does have a very specific purpose and it's good at what it does. Despite that, right? Beams also are pretty committal. Same thing. You can't vanish cancel them. They only cover specific range. They're good at what they do. The return is okay. Like you generally get like, I think Trunks gets maybe like 2.4, 2.6. Yeah, 2.6. So like the return is okay. The commit level is high, but it has a specific purpose. If you know they are going to be like shooting Ki Blast or something, you can fire a beam, and the beam will win. The beam is a higher projectile level than the Ki Blast, right? So Ki Blast, going to Ki Blast, this actually makes Ki Blast pretty good. They're pretty low committal moves. They are very advantageous on block from full screen, like plus 10, plus 15, depending on your character. And you can use them to assess the situation. And depending on your character, of course, very much depending on your character, you may get return, like a pretty good return for doing it. So the risk is low, the commit is low, and the return is like mid to high, depending on who you're playing, right? And how easy it is to confirm the Ki Blast. So Yamcha's a good example here. His is super low commit. He moves backwards while he's doing it, so it gives you more time to see what's going on. Plus 15 from full screen. Not too hard to confirm. Maybe a little bit. It's maybe I need sound to do it. I can't hear the game, but not too hard to hit confirm. But you'd have to like, most people are just firing it. You'd have to like be waiting and look, see how I'm missing it. If you want one more, the last one would be, we could talk about anti-airs. So anti-airs are interesting in this game because, as you know, there's a bunch of ways you can change your air momentum in this game. Between like, you could just jump, you can jump, air dash back, you can jump, super dash, and that'll change your momentum. You can super jump, float. There's a lot of things that change your momentum in this game. So anti-airs generally are actually pretty high commit. Yamcha's an extreme one because his goes airborne. I know many Yamcha players have had the sadness of like, if they block both hits of this, you can cancel it. The first hit whiffs, they try super dash, they get 2H. I know, I feel that. That sucks. So a lot of the good anti-airs in this game are, in my opinion, are anti-airs that are either grounded, like Trunks, because you're not forced to go to the air, or some type of anti-air where you traverse space, like Bardock's medium lariat. Despite this being a decent level of commit, you can mitigate that by using assist, as you have definitely seen. So like calling Yamcha here, calling a beam there, though that additional space coverage makes the level of commit lower than normal. Okay, so let me know if you have any questions. I know it sounds a little similar to risk return, but they are two different things. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I'll try to clear it up. Like and subscribe if you feel like it, and I'll see you next time. Peace out.